IsoEnergy, of course, we're a spin out of NextGen Energy. We're exploring Canada's Great Athabasca Basin, of course, and what a time to be doing it. You know, Gwen will have noted there that the uranium price has risen strongly in recent weeks. I just note in the last hour, the spot price has tipped just over $34 a pound, which puts uranium up 45% for the year. Best performing commodity globally for the year, apart from coffee, I think. And you know, this is just the start. The reason, of course, is we've seen major mine closures. You know, Jim's done a good job of addressing the disclaimers that we provide there, so I won't go into any detail there. But you see there on that slide a little bit about the supply situation. Now, you know, the uranium supply and demand situation is quite interesting. You've got 441 operating nuclear reactors around the world today, 56 in construction, over 100 permitted for future construction. And they're supplied by those 441 operating reactors are supplied by only 12 significant mines that provide 90% of the fuel for those mines. So there's a serious disconnect in terms of the number of producing assets as against the consumers. And whenever anything goes wrong on that supply side, as we've seen in recent weeks, you know, things move pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. Of course, that last uranium boom, largely driven by the closure of Cigar Lake. Of course, 3 weeks ago, we saw the closure of Cigar Lake once again. We've seen Kazatomprom, the world's biggest producer, close all of their projects, and Namibia close its production. Demand hasn't curtailed at all, but supply is dramatically reduced, and so that's having a huge impact. And as Gwen's eloquently put there, has brought forward the uranium boom that we have to have. And so, you know, fantastic time to be looking at uranium. And against that macro backdrop, IsoEnergy, we announced 18 months ago the discovery of our Hurricane Zone. That's now turned into a significant deposit. And our last drilling program, we completed 24 holes over the last winter. We announced our final results from that program 2 weeks ago, and it's confirmed that we've got really a high-grade beast of a deposit on our hands now. So we're very excited and to be putting out these results, and I think, you know, we are now the standout exploration play in the uranium space today as this market kicks off. You can see that hole. This was one of our first holes in the winter program, LE 2034. 8.5 metres at 34% uranium, including 5 at nearly 60% uranium. Incredibly high-grade dirt. In gold equivalent terms, that 8.5 metres is about 320 grams per tonne, or 10 ounces per tonne. So some of the thickest and highest grade intercepts that we've seen since our discovery there at NextGen of our Arrow deposit. And you can see down the right-hand side of the screen there some of our better intercepts. That hole 34, I should say, you know, some of you will be watchers of the OPAX reports. OPAX, of course, put out the best drill intercepts each week for around the world. That intercept there is the best drill hole in any commodity on the planet in this year so far. So we're very happy with that, how that's going. A little bit about the team, a little bit about our approach. We're focused on the Athabasca Basin. It's in Saskatchewan. It's the best mining jurisdiction in the world, of course. We've got an exceptional team. We access the broader NextGen group. Our head of exploration, Steve Blower, has independently a very good track record. He discovered the Griffin deposit that's owned by Denison and has done it again here with our Hurricane discovery. A little bit about where we are. We're in the eastern Athabasca. You know, in my view, the best place in the world to explore for high-grade uranium deposits. We're in and around some of the world's biggest uranium mines, of course, Cameco's McArthur River and Cigar Lake. This orange package is our property package there. You can see all of that infrastructure, very importantly. And, of course, Orano's McLean Lake mill is very close to us. Zooming in on that area, you'll note that the McLean Lake mill is only 40 kilometres away from our Hurricane discovery. That mill's currently underfed, and as Cigar winds down over the next 6 or 7 years, you know, that mill will be very keen to find ore feed. So we're perfectly positioned for that. We sit here just on the western edge of our property boundary. I'll zoom into that area. We're quite close to a number of other major deposits in the area as well, so good access to infrastructure and the like. Just zooming into the deposit now. We don't put much geology on there just yet. We're still working through all of that. It's early days in the discovery process. We've drilled 53 holes to date. You can see this very high-grade zone on the western property margin that we've defined in this drilling program. We now have defined a zone that's 600 metres long, 40 metres wide by about 8.5 metres thick. Similar sort of dimensions to something like Denison's giant Phoenix deposit, and obviously very, very high grades. We haven't closed. Now, I should say at that depth, it's amenable to a number of new low-cost mining techniques like Orano's Sabre borehole mining technique, or Denison has been working, of course, on in-situ leaching of these types of deposits. We're not under any bodies of water, so we're very well positioned for a project that one day could become a mine. Just looking at, we haven't closed off the deposit in any dimension yet. It's still open to the east. It's open to the property boundary. And importantly, those high-grade sections we've announced over the summer are still open both to the south and north. And you can see here, what we're going to do over this coming summer is get in and start drilling in and looking to close off some of these sections. And what that means is we'll be drilling in and around some of the highest grade intercepts we've hit to date. And you'll note this structure here. And these are deep basement tapping faults that host these highly mineralised zones. So we'll be drilling in and around there. And I suppose that what that means is you can never guarantee good drill results, but we're a chance of hitting some pretty good results and good news going forward. So look out for that when we start that program back up in the coming summer. Another section just exemplifying the potential for further hits as we look to close off those sections and explore a long section from those existing hits. In addition to the Hurricane deposit there in the western section, this conductor that hosts the deposit continues out to the east strongly. We've done a little bit of drilling out there, exploration drilling so far. We've hit some interesting structures and elevated radioactivity, and we think there's very strong possibility of discovery out there to the east as well. A little bit about where we sit. Of course, NextGen's Giant Arrow deposit extends almost from the surface down into the basement. We're a little bit different, being an unconformity-related deposit, but at a relatively shallow 325 metres depth, considerably shallower than, say, Cigar Lake or MacArthur River. And then lastly, Gwen, probably one of the most important things here is that NextGen, of course, owns 52% of our stock, Orano 2% and Cameco 4%. NextGen's a very supportive shareholder. Lee Courier, CEO of NextGen, is our chairman. We've got a number of board members in common. And then we're supported heavily by a number of key institutions like SEGRA, CQS's Geiger Fund and the like. So the free float out there is really only 20% of the stock or so. Hence, we perform very well when we put out good results or the market starts to improve as it has at the moment. You can see that very neat V-shaped recovery, albeit in our share price in recent weeks, albeit, we don't think much of that success we've had over the last winter has been factored into our share price. We've got $3.5 million in cash. We raised $7 million back in December, heavily supported by NextGen, who put in $3 million of that $7 million. That $3.5 million will last us through this summer program that we're working on and planning for now. So we don't have to come back to the market at all this year. We're neatly positioned there. And if we do, we know that NextGen will be there to backstop us. A little bit about the team there. Steve, of course, is all critical, having now discovered 2 major deposits, and the board. And you'll see those guys having been the founders of Mega Uranium, NextGen Uranium, and now IsoEnergy have got a tremendous track record and in the uranium space. So, Gwen, that's about it. We want to be seen as the go-to name in exploration, a little bit like our parent and big brother there at NextGen is the go-to name in uranium development as we enter this bullish phase of the market. I think IsoEnergy fast being recognised as the go-to name in exploration. Look out for all the news flow as we get ready to mount this summer drill campaign. And then when we're out there drilling, as we say, we'll be in and around those great hits that we've had so far. So the chances of good news flow come summer very strong as we move to announcing a maiden resource sometime early next year.